Good evening, everybody out there in Chester County and on my Facebook page. Coming to you straight live on a Throwback Thursday is none other than me, Brother Fonz. And look, man, I'm telling you, you've heard me for the last couple of days. I'm truly excited. Now, I know y'all probably saying, well, Fonz, why are you excited? Because I think I have the Michael Jordan of medicine right here, ladies and gentlemen. Now, you might not know why I'm saying that, but you're going to know it in just a couple of minutes. But before I get into it, there's a few things that we got to talk about. And then y'all know the drill, right? First of all, Dion Hogarth, Lee, I know y'all out there. I want y'all to get on this video, share it, and tag me on it so we can kind of get a boomerang effect. And we can kind of like, for the people that tune in, we can get their questions and all that other kind of good stuff. So wherever you're at, do that right now and stop playing. And I'm going to try and see what I got working here. Now, everybody else is pretty good at this. Now, your family should be real good at this. I need y'all to get on here and stop playing. Yeah. Well, this is so exciting, I'm telling you. If they're not, oh, here go. Iris Holmes did it. Iris, you know, I appreciate you. That's my sister. That's my sister right there. She's right there on it. So I'm going to do right one. So, Jolene, are you excited yet?
I'm excited.
We're going to be stupid this evening, but look, check this out first. Now, I got to go by my bullet points because I'll start rambling and I'll mess stuff up. So, first of all, why don't you say hello to all your viewers out there, Jolene?
Good evening, everyone.
Jolene.
Good to be here. So happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me to talk to you tonight.
Yeah. She was hard. She was hard because she works and everything like that, right? So before we get into the Q&A, I want to give y'all an abbreviated version of her bio. Let's see, her bio, I almost ran out of ink and paper because it was that long, right? She did so much stuff, been so many places. She went to school like longer than I'm old, you know what I mean? So here is the abbreviated version of Dr. Jolene Lowery. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't know many doctors, and especially no African-American female doctors. I ain't gonna pretend. I don't know no basketball stars, and I don't know no doctors, but I know one now. So here we go. Dr. Jolene Lowery is a board-certified endocrinologist at the Penn Medicine Clinical Care Associates at Penn Medicine, Washington Square, Philadelphia. And it took me 2 days to learn how to say endocrinologist.
You did
Thank
good.
you for taking that up. Now, number 2, Dr. Lowery attended, now listen to this, Florida A&M University from 1989, 1995. She graduated summa cum laude with a PharmD degree. Now, what's summa cum laude? What does that mean?
That's the highest honor you can get.
See, I knew it. I knew you had that. I knew that's what it was because when I read it, I started feeling smarter. I said, this must be something. I've had a whole lot of cum laudes too this week. Okay, I want to say she matched. I think that might have been a wrong word, but you did something at the University of Maryland Medical System Internal Medicine Residency Program. She spent 3 years in the residency program. Am I correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, we ain't done yet. Staff physician in primary care at the Baltimore VAMC. Is that the Veterans VAMC? What's that stand for?
Oh, that's the Veterans Administration Medical Center.
Okay, good. We need you up here, man, because these doctors, we got them here jacked up. Bootleg doctors are. All right. She was later selected to be an endocrine fellow at the University of Pittsburgh Medical Center in the year 2006. She spent 4 years at a program as an endocrinology clinical and research fellow with a focus on obesity medicine. That's for like fat people. Attending endocrinologist at the Morehouse School of Medicine and the Grady Healthcare System. And during her medical school career, she was able to participate in medical missions to Haiti. She also joined a medical mission to IMO State. What is that?
Say it one more time.
IMO State. What is that? Is that a typo? MO or something. Don't worry about it. Anyway, Nigeria during her first year of endocrine fellowship. These are some of the things that she's done. Ignore the typo because that's like, I can't type. But look, it is so good to see you and good to have you here. It's been a minute. I really tried real hard to get you because I really did. I did a lot of begging. I did a lot of begging, and you're finally here. So God bless you. And we're going to move on because she has no electricity. She's on her phone, but she's like a Timex watch. She takes a ticket and keeps right on ticking. Okay, let's go ahead. Now, are you originally from Coatesville?
I am born in Coatesville Hospital. Yeah.
Okay. So you went to Cash and all that, right?
Cash. Graduated.
Wow. Okay. In high school, did you know what you wanted to be and do when you grew up?
No. And I can tell you the story. You want to hear it? Here it goes.
Do I ever?
So, you know, back in the day, I feel like Coastal really needed some help with guidance counseling. You know, I spent most of my high school years in the, you know, they called them the accelerated classes, but still didn't really have any idea what I wanted to do, but I knew I liked math. So long and short of it is I was gonna, when I finally applied to schools, I got accepted to Philadelphia College of Textiles and Sciences, which doesn't even exist anymore. And I was going to study finance, right? Because I like math. That made sense to me. So long and short of it is I got saved. I know you know Earl Soup Johnson.
Right.
God nudged him and told him that this wasn't the path for me. So long and short of it is Earl set me up to meet a man named Dr. Leonard Johnson. He was an internal medicine physician in Philadelphia. He was actually a big recruiter for FAMU in the Philadelphia area. Long and short, after 2 conversations, this man had me admitted to Florida A&M University, literally like 3 weeks before it was time for school to start. And not only did I get admitted, but I got admitted into the pharmacy program, which was actually pretty competitive. So you know, we packed up my bags. Me, my sister, my mom got on a plane, took me down to FAMU. I literally did not have a dorm, had no place to stay. And really all I had was almost like a verbal commitment that I was admitted to the school. And got there, stayed in the bottom of the female dormitory for about, I want to say it was over a month. There was about 20 something other girls in the same position that didn't have dormitory housing. But needless to say, by the time I finished my first year, I was admitted into the pharmacy school. And not only that, they offered me a scholarship. So God is good.
All right, so let me ask you a couple questions. We're going to take it back to high school. What was some of your favorite subjects in high school?
Really, it was math. I liked science, but I didn't feel like science was like one of my strong subject areas. And I certainly, like, if I had to put it in a list of priorities, it was definitely math. Then I would say probably chemistry. And then I would say language arts was probably like on the lower end.
Let's acknowledge some of the viewers. We want to let them know that we know that they're out there. Iris Holmes says, "Good evening, Fonz. Couldn't wait to see the show tonight." So you had people on pins and needles waiting for you tonight. That is so good. They don't do that for me. They do it for the guests, but it's okay. All right. So she said, "Good evening, Dr. Jolene Brown Lowery." Oh, she said all your names. Roberta Steyer said, "Hey, Jolene." Tina Mitson is watching. Anthony Hogarth. I just finished bugging him about your phone. I guess he must have been working. He said, "I'll tell you, I'll call you back." Anthony Hogarth, it's good to see you out there evening. Hey, look, any of our viewers, if you have any questions, you have a doctor in the house. Not often do doctors make house calls, but on this Throwback Thursday, we have Dr. Jolene making a house call. So y'all better put some questions down there, say some highs, but I'd ask about this pain in my back. I'm swollen. I'd get all this free information. But that's just me. So let's move on. Now, have you always been smart, or was this some sort of acquired thing you had going on? Come on now.
You know, I really don't think that I was smarter than anybody else. And I'm not saying that to just sound good, but truly, I remember just making a decision that I was going to work hard and that I was going to be the best that I was going to be. And, honestly, I contribute a lot of that to, having my mom and my dad present, but not only were they present, they weren't just there. Like my dad and my mom, they spent a lot of time with us, and they really, they sold into us. My dad was always affirming me, spent a lot of time talking to me about, you know, what he expected from me as his daughter. And I took those things to heart. And so I feel like, you know, there was a point it just clicked, and I just decided that, you know, I wanted something for myself.
Good stuff, good stuff. There's a whole lot of meat on them bones right there about committing and all that kind of stuff. We're gonna get back to that. But look, let's tell us a little bit about your family. You got a family?
Oh, absolutely. My family now, you know,
let's talk about them.
Sure. I'm married. My married name is Lowery, so I'm married to Charles Lowery, which is one of the reasons why we came back here. We both have family here. I have 2 kids. I have a 9-year-old son named Jaden, and I have a 5-year-old daughter named Chloe.
Good. And you know, the few times that we have interacted, I didn't know if you could talk or not, because I've never really talked to you. And I thought maybe you were just like a play sister when Dion used to always say, that's my sister, that's my best friend, and you know, all that kind of stuff. I said, oh, she got like a play sister. But you're really sisters, and you actually can talk. So I'm really excited about that. Now, wait a minute. Shauna McClain said, hello. And Ella Williams in capital letters said she's always been smart. I can believe that. Mike Jackson said she worked her butt off. She would never party with us in college. Good. No wonder she's got all these jobs and everything. Okay, Iris Holmes, do you recommend anyone that has a Okay, here goes your first medical question.
Medical question. All right.
Iris wants to know, do you recommend anyone that has a thyroid condition, should they have an endocrine doctor rather than just a family MD?
So visit with an endocrinologist, particularly if there's a concern about treatment. So it's, of course, you keep your family doctor, but you would go to the endocrinologist specifically to manage and diagnose that thyroid problem.
Boy, you just got $50 worth of advice right there, man. Y'all better stay on this line and stop playing. Okay, I never could understand how to say this word. Baquette Asti is watching. Wait a minute, somebody named Dion Brown Hogarth is watching. Oh boy, there's a family. Lonisha Kennedy, good to see you. All right, don't forget, if you got any questions, ask her some questions while she's free. Okay, we're gonna move on with the questions. Let me see if I got something that's gonna make me feel like I'm smart. Okay, do you have any hobbies?
The kids.
Whoa.
I mean, I used to before marriage, pre-marriage, I used to like to do jewelry making, but now my hobby is running to stay sane. So I pretty much, you know, exercise is my extracurricular activity.
You say you run? You run?
I run.
Oh, wow. Ella Williams' husband, that's all he do. Christopher, he's like Forrest Gump. He runs like from here to the Pacific Ocean and back, all that old kind of crazy stuff. Okay.
I did track in high school. So, you know, I tried to maintain my fitness throughout all the years, but then recently, in the last couple of years, I've been doing a little more endurance running, so longer runs.
Man, I'm barely gonna run to my car. Okay, now, what motivates you?
What motivates? Again, just trying to be the best person that I can be for God. I just feel like every day is a day of grace. And, you know, I always think about, you know, well done, thy good and faithful servant. So like my goal is, I want to hear that well done. You know, I want to, you know, when the end comes, I want to make sure I do what I'm supposed to do.
Man, I just love the guests that I be having on here, man, because they be talking about the Lord and God and everything. I ain't got to cue them in or nothing. They just give it up. Well, I tell you, if it wasn't for God, I'd be like, yes. Okay. We can keep it real, right? All right. Yeah. At what point in your life did you realize, out of all the ologies, you wanted to be into endocrinology or whatever that is? How'd you pick that?
So first, even just figuring out that I wanted to be a doctor, because again, even when I went to FAMU, I still didn't have being a doctor on my mind, because again, that whole pharmacy career was something that someone kind of gave to me. And I said, I just rolled with it because it sounded better than doing finance. So, but once I got to school, pretty much pharmacy school, you're doing anatomy and physiology, just like you would do in medical school. And then as I realized, you know, what my life would be like as a pharmacist, I was like, well, wait a minute. I want to be the one at the front line helping the patient as opposed to being the one just delivering medication. And so it just kind of evolved that I said, you know what, I think at this point, I think I just need to go ahead and do it. Now, it wasn't an easy decision because of course, you know, back in those days, when you apply to schools, it's not like today where you just, you know, you do one application, you click a button and it goes to like 100 different schools. You had to fill out every application separately. And each application had a separate fee. So I'm the kind of person, so one of my, you know, my character flaws is when I get anxious, fearful about whether something's going to work out, you know, yes, I trust God, but you know, we all still have those moments. I procrastinate. So bottom line is, I waited literally to the last minute, submitted my application. Like, again, these are handwritten applications. You had to type up, you had to find a typewriter. Made a mistake on the application. They actually sent it back to me, which further delayed me applying to medical school. But God is good. He still kept me. And I ended up getting an interview at University of Florida, where I went on the last day of their interview session.
Man.
And let me tell you how good God. And I got a full tuition scholarship for 4 years.
Man, that's some special stuff there. That's some real. Woo! Hey, look, wait a minute. We're going to recognize some people because people are really chiming in. You must have told people you was going to be on tonight. No, Katina Christmas is watching. She said, "Hey," with like about 4 Y's at the end of "hey." Man, she's doing it 3 times. Claire Lindlow is watching. Tashina Anderson. Shadell Canones. Shamise Taylor. Shamise, I miss seeing you, Shamise. I know you know her. That's my buddy. She said, "Hey, cuz." So y'all like that and everything. But Nacia Miles, who was one of our top guests on this show, Katina's husband, Charles Eric Robertson, I'm sorry. Nelson Ojeda's on. Leah Hogarth, she all late, but she's on. And I'm going to keep on moving because this is getting good. Let me see what else I got. What does endocrinology entail? What is that the study of?
So endocrine is basically glands. So it's a description of glands. And so there are a number of hormone producing glands in your body. And basically we manage disorders of those endocrine glands. So just to name a few. So you have the pituitary gland, your thyroid gland, diabetes is included in endocrinology because the pancreas makes insulin. So that's considered an endocrine gland. And then the female and male sex glands are considered part of endocrinology as well. And the adrenal glands, I think I hit them all.
All right. So, okay. You're good. Real succinct and to the point. In your bio, you state that you've seen endocrine medical problems. Can you tell us some of them problems and what are some of the cures and treatment for some of the problems that you have ran across? Like, what are the main problems when people have endocrine problems?
So probably the majority of my practice is diabetes and thyroid disease. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, just like most African-American families, you know, I had relatives with diabetes and high blood pressure. And so as I saw how those conditions manifested in them, the problems that they had, that kind of sparked my interest in endocrinology. So even in medical school, I still knew that first it was, again, you know, I was going to do internal medicine, which is just basically general practice. And, you know, of course, my inspiration for that is Dr. Stokes. You know, he was everybody's doctor in Cookville, right? God bless his soul. So I think as I practiced at the VA, I told you I worked at the VA. So right out of residency, I went to the VA. And it seemed like, again, every person that I was seeing, I was working in downtown Baltimore. So probably the majority of my patients, vets, were African-American. And the majority of them were affected by either diabetes and high blood pressure. And so I just got to a point, I was like, you know what? These two conditions are really rampant in our community. I want to know how to manage them better. So you can kind of, you know, internal medicine, I kind of describe as, you know, jack of all trades, master of none, in a way. Now, you know, it doesn't say that internists aren't good, but you certainly have a wider range of diseases that you have to manage. Whereas when when you specialize in subspecialty medicine, you get the opportunity to kind of focus on certain conditions. And so again, endocrinology would encompass diabetes and high blood pressure, high cholesterol. And so that was kind of what fueled my decision to go ahead and do a fellowship.
Good stuff, good stuff. Now, one thing about our broadcast, Iris Holmes gets her money's worth. And right now she has another question for you. Iris, and I appreciate you. She said, what is the main cause of thyroid problems?
Well, there are a number of different thyroid conditions. So it really depends on which condition you're talking about.
Okay, you heard that, Iris? Do you have any specific condition? Iris, come back to me if you do. And let's see who else I got on here. What I got here? Okay, Shamiz says, Tina, miss you too. I don't know if she's talking to Katina or what's going on. Are they having a conversation with each other? I'm not quite so sure, but we're going to roll and go with the flow. Tanisha St. John said, can you manage thyroid issues without medicine? That's Tanisha.
Yeah, loaded question, but too general. You need to know what condition it is in order for me to give you the answer, the correct answer for that one.
So Tanisha, hurry up and Google the problem, look at some records and hurry back before she gets off. We're going to get you an answer. Okay, who else we got there? Katina, she was really excited when you mentioned Dr. Stokes. Shamice is laughing with 3 smiley faces. It must be some sort of private joke. And we're going to move on. Ain't this joke great? You're so stupid on here. Let me see what else I got. Ain't nobody playing with you. Now, let me ask you. The sudden change, because you made some changes from one career to another career. You start off with finance. We're talking about money and numbers and stuff like that. Now, all of a sudden, you operating on people and curing people, stuff like that. Did the change scare you, or did you just say, I'm going to do it, and then went on and did it?
Because I didn't know what finance really was anyway. I don't feel like I lost anything. I didn't know what finance was. It just sounded good. Again, to me, just like lack of career guidance from, from the high school level. And I mean, I can't blame anybody. I just, it's not like we have doctors in our family. So again, Dr. Stokes was the only doctor I ever knew up to that point. So, I didn't know I wanted to be a physician. And again, I liked math. So I thought math and finance made sense. I knew I wasn't going, well, I mean, again, nothing against teachers, but I knew I didn't have what it took to be a teacher.
Okay. Wait a minute. There's this young lady named Aaliyah Hogarth. She's trying to hustle for you too. Listen to this. That's my aunt. Y'all better book with her and let her check your glands. Best in PA. I ain't mad at you, Leah. Try and get her paid. Come on with it. Marie Boyd is checking in, and it's good to see you, Marie. And we're going to move on. I tell you, this is some bunch you got on here tonight there, Doc.
Well, I love my niece. I just put to give her a shout out.
Yeah, that's so good, so good. Let me see what else we got. I think you probably answered this, but why did you pick Florida A&M to do your studies?
Again, because that was the school that Dr. Johnson, the recruiter, that's the school that he was recruiting for. And if I had to do it all again, I would do it all again. Okay. That's part of my schooling, for sure.
Man. Now, how'd you pay for all these schools?
Good question. So lots of support from family, mom and dad. When I went to FAMU, I did also get a partial scholarship there that helped me. And I was initially, an out-of-state student, obviously, because I came from Pennsylvania. But what I did, and I don't know how easy it is to do now, but I basically, after my second year, I think, I applied for Florida residency. So I became a Florida resident, and there I got in-state tuition.
You've been making moves. You ain't here. You something else. You special. You special. And you're answering my question so fast, I'm almost running out of them. I'm going to talk real slow. No, I'm only kidding. All right. Now, let me see. Okay, we did the cum laude. Now, when you was at the Morehouse School, what did you do there?
So that was really my first job as an endocrinologist out of fellowship training. So fellowship training, again, is just like residency, where we have to, you're training, you have a training license. So you're under another physician who's fully licensed, and that's when you do your training and fellowship. So after I finished at University of Pittsburgh, Then my first job as attending, meaning that you're a standalone physician, you don't have anybody signing off on your work, was at Morehouse School of Medicine. Can I tell you the story about that too?
Yeah, please, would you? We got plenty of time.
So the interesting story about that. So here again. So when I was, I got married and needed to be in Atlanta. My husband had a son in Atlanta, my stepson. And we wanted to be here, you know, he was kind of in those crucial years of school. So we decided we needed to be in Atlanta near him. So I needed a job in Atlanta. He needed a job in Atlanta. And so talked to one of the physicians that I was working with, and you know, she has connections in Atlanta. So she says, hey, talk to so-and-so. He said, there is a physician named Chip Reed who is looking for someone to join his practice in Atlanta. I said, okay, cool. So, you know, she didn't give me the numbers or anything. So I basically had to look it up on the internet, find this person's name. And then I reached out to him, you know, sent my CV, as we call it in medicine, we call them curriculum vitae. Mm-hmm. So I look on the internet, I put Chip Reed in Google, got this phone number and the email address, and I went ahead and sent my CV by email. And, but when I looked on the internet, it said James Chip Reed. And I said, okay, this is probably the same person. How many James Reed's physician endocrinologists could there be? So, so James Reed sends me back an email and said, hey, you know, we are looking for an endocrinologist. You know, send me all your information. I'll talk with, you know, people here, and then I'll get back with you. So this is at Morehouse School of Medicine. And, you know, within a week or so, you know, we're talking on the phone. I think they brought me down for an interview probably a month or so later. And then they offered me the position. So fast forward about a couple months after I'm there, and, you know, there's an organization that has all the endocrinologists in the Atlanta area, and they meet. And I'm looking on the list, and here there is a physician named Chip Reed. And I said, Chip Reed? Well, I thought James Reed was Chip Reed. Well, lo and behold, guess what? James Reed was not Chip Reed. So here, I contacted the wrong person for the right job.
And still got the job.
Still got the job.
Tell me ain't God ain't on your team.
Thank you.
Went in the wrong door, still got hired. That is so nice. That's a great story. Great story. Okay, let's see. Marie Boyd, it's always good to see you. Thank you for checking in this evening. Marsha Newton Baker. Okay. Oh boy. Well, we have Nelson Ojeda. He said, Doctor, my heart was broken. How can I fix it? That sounds like a heart doctor, not an endocrinologist.
Yes, I don't do any cardiology.
And there you go. Tam and Slam, Tam Jarrett is watching. It's good to see you. Charles Eric Robinson said, wrong person for right job. Wow. That is so true, so true. This is good stuff. That's why I'm so glad that we got her on here, man. I knew this was going to be something special. Now, here, where we at? Okay, you already told us about your journey from Florida A&M and all that. Okay, now, I read where you said your interest grew in metabolic disorder. Could you explain that to us in layman's terms?
Sure. So they like to group all the conditions that are heart-related and related to excess body weight or obesity, as well as high blood pressure, high cholesterol. They like to group those disorders into metabolic disorders. And so as I kind of mentioned, you know, earlier about being at the VA, and most of the vets had, again, most of the African-American veterans that I took care of had either high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, all of them together. And so again, those would be considered metabolic disorders.
All right, now you spent some time overseas doing some stuff. I've seen the word Nigeria and Haiti. Tell us about your missions over there and the differences and some of the things that they go through that may be a little bit different than what we go through. Tell us about them experiences.
So my experience in Haiti was the first one. It was actually a medical school sponsored mission to Haiti. And it was a trip that the University of Florida medical students, it was an annual trip that they did. So, I mean, now that to me was like true roughing it. We stayed in the countryside, up in the mountains. We didn't have running water. I don't even remember how we ate. And so we traveled to the country. Every day we went to a couple orphanages. We brought them food, we brought them medication, spent some time with the kids. And we would set up different medicine like tents in several different places. We stayed there for a week. I mean, it's just really no different than what you see on TV. It's just devastating. Like, you know, one, of course, it makes you extremely grateful for what you have. And then secondly, you know, you just see the medical conditions. I mean, you saw kids with, you know, like warts that were, you know, very severe. You saw kids with, you know, just wounds that, because they're so malnutrition, can't heal. Kids that need surgeries and operations for cleft lips and things of that nature. It's just really, it's moving. You know, it just makes you appreciate what you have and to not complain. But as you know, it was really exciting to do it as a group with other medical students and us, you know, just really go in there to really help and serve.
Well, now I have a couple of people that are saying that some people have some good questions. Shardell has some good questions. Maybe it hasn't came up on my feed yet. They said Iris had another question. I don't see that. Shardell, maybe you might want to ask that question again. Oh, here it is. Shardell wants to know, what is the best diet plan when one is managing hypothyroidism and diabetes?
So there's a lot of stuff on the internet you could probably read about for hypothyroidism specifically, not together. But really, there is no evidence-based diet for hypothyroidism. However, there's lots of evidence for good dietary habits for diabetes. And so probably the best thing to do is to stick with lower carbohydrate diet, low sugar, and lean, healthy protein, and low fat. The American Diabetes Association is actually also advocating a plant-based diet, which is not for everybody. But certainly I suggest, you know, to probably decrease intake of any kind of, you know, particularly fat, red beef and meat, those meats, and probably stick more with your poultry and fish in your diet if you don't want to completely give up meat and do a plant-based diet. So that's what I would suggest.
Man, I don't like none of that stuff you just said. I need some fried chicken. I need some grease in my life, man. Vegetables, that's like a foreign substance. My body rejects vegetables. That's sad. Okay, look, is there any, okay, wait a minute. Okay, I see ours here. But is there anything good that you can recommend to boost someone's immune system?
Well, given that's not my specialty area, but again, I think, you know, keeping the diet simple is probably the best thing. So, you know, everybody can't afford organic foods. And it doesn't mean that you necessarily have to have organic, but you certainly want to make sure that the majority of your diet is healthy fruits and vegetables. And you start always with the fresh fruits and vegetables first. And then if you can't always get fresh, then you do frozen. But you want to make sure your diet is simple, you know, lose the condiments, keep with the fresh vegetables and fruits and lean proteins. Keep it simple.
Good. All right. Let me get back to when you was overseas. What did you find was the most prevalent diseases that they had? Like dysentery? Was there anything? Hypertension
and diabetes still.
Really?
Yep.
So that's just everywhere, huh?
Everywhere. Because the Caribbeans and Africans have also adapted, our American way of eating.
Kentucky Fried Chicken, church's chicken.
Before their statistics when it was related to obesity were lower, because of course they have to walk everywhere. They do a lot of physical labor. But now they still have high proportions of obesity as well in the third world countries.
Wow. Hey, Mary Kyle just checked in. Mary, you are all late. Unbelievable, as much as we be talking. Okay. Let me see. We may have answered this, but let me read it. We, as people of color, what have you found are some of our most pressing concerns? You said diabetes and hypertension, right? And you told us our diet would help fight that.
Absolutely.
And what else? Exercise or something like that too?
Oh, absolutely. Every day, 7 days a week.
Now, let me see. Okay, Marie Boyd would like to know, what are your thoughts about the keto diet?
So of course I get this question all the time. And so what I tell people is that the keto diet works. I've seen lots of people lose weight on keto. The problem with keto is that most people cannot maintain that lifestyle of eating for the rest of their life, because the bottom line is whatever you do to lose weight, you got to keep doing it. And so if that's the way you lose weight, if you can't maintain that keto way of eating, it's going to come back. And most times it's going to come back with a vengeance. I mean, it's going to be a couple more pounds with it.
You're going to be really swole.
So
that's messed up.
Is to, again, manage a low carbohydrate, low sugar diet, but doesn't mean that you completely remove carbohydrates out of your diet.
Okay.
You got to eat the right ones.
You're starting to get a lot of food questions. So let's continue on that vein in the food
I'm still
question.
here, but I can't hear you.
Oh, you can't hear me? Hello? Hello? Have I lost you? I know she's on her phone. Just hang in there with her for a minute. Somebody call. Oh, Jolene, where you at? Hello? I think her phone froze up on her because she has lost electricity. Just hang in there because I had a couple more questions for her. But while we're waiting for her to get back online, I want y'all, let me see if she comes back on. She disconnected. Maybe she'll come back on. I'll try and kill some airtime until she gets back. Hey, look, don't forget. Hey, look, while I'm on here, Fat Cat number 3, Donald Folks, City Councilman Donald Folks. He used to be a DJ. All the old heads know him by Fat Cat 3. He is having a surprise drive-by birthday celebration Wednesday, leaving from the 910 Center. Now, I blocked Donald. I unfriended him and everything, so he can't see this. So it's a surprise. So don't y'all tell nobody. Okay, I'll be right with you, Jolene. I'm doing a little commercial. So look, I need y'all to be out there on Wednesday, the 12th, I believe it is, at the 910 Center. Hey, get the family on here too. Let's meet everybody. So
they went away.
Hey, who we got there? Your significant other? I'm doing 2 things at once. We need you out at the 910 Center on the 12th at 6 p.m. We're going to line up and we're going to do a celebration to honor Fat Cat, who has been serving the community, shop with a cop, city council, all that stuff he do. But I'll tell you more about it. I got a flyer on my page, but don't tell him. You know y'all can't hold water. Don't tell him. Now, meanwhile, back to Dr. Jolene. Okay, because your face was like, hi, welcome back. Now, what was we saying? Okay, we talked about the diabetes and all that stuff because we're winding down to that moment in time. But what have been the keys to your success? And give us all of them. We want all the keys.
For sure, again, just, keeping God at the center of everything, and just, working daily to be better and to please him. Number 2, again, having my parents and having, just being affirmed by both of them as a child and just knowing that I was loved. Always having a good peer group. My girls that are here now supporting me that are on, Katina and Ella, they've been my road dogs forever. Shamice, Teresa Lee, like these were the people that were in my circle when I was in, high school. And, I can name countless others, don't leave anybody out. And then again, having a sister who, even when I was younger, Dion, she had to take me everywhere she went. But I appreciate that. She didn't fuss at me. She, I think she got mad a couple of times, but, I was always on her heels. And just, really just, just always having a goal, just looking for the next thing to do, to have a goal, to be helpful, to be flexible, to be a team player, all those things that just make you well-rounded.
Katina said, yes, Dion took us everywhere. Evidently, Katina was hanging with y'all too. Oh, man. That's what I love about Coatesville. I'm from South Philadelphia and a small part of South Philadelphia. And we had camaraderie, but from bridge to bridge to have 13,000 people. Now, everybody don't like everybody, but this is the closest knit city that I've ever been in. And that's why I take to it so highly. And I'm so appreciative that they have adopted me as one of their own. Because most people think that I'm from here, but actually I'm not, but I am now. So good. But now, look, so you answered one of my questions. See, my next last question every time is I always talk about what part has faith played in it. But you said it all through the whole thing. So I ain't even gonna ask you that. Don't jump the gun like that no more. Don't do it. Stop looking on my papers. Now, and you almost did this, but I'm going to get you to do this again because I think it's very important. My program is based on information, education, and inspiration. And this program is based not so much on me, but it's based on people with a purpose, people of interest that can share their story, their journeys, their pains, their sorrows, their joys, so it will uplift those who are listening out in the viewership. That's what this is all about. So with that being said, you've already done these things, but as we close, I want you to give some sort of parting comments, whatever is laid on your heart to share with the viewers. Make it happen, and there's no time limit.
No time limit?
No, for it.
So one of the scriptures that always sticks with me is, when it comes to, being in the service field, where for the most part, there's most days, you give more of yourself than you even want to most times because you have to. And this is what you signed up for. And even when you have like bad encounters and times you're just kind of discouraged, you're tired, I have to kind of remind myself, what the Bible says. One is that I always never think of myself more highly than I ought to. But with, the Bible says, in a sober judgment, according to the measure of faith. But then in that same chapter, Paul talks about just putting others above yourself and honoring others and loving people. And obviously for all of us, it's always easier to say those things than it is to do those things. And again, there's times that I'm tired and I just, I'm kind of like, I'm just, I can't, people give you a hard time. People call and complain about the service that you gave them, but I'm still like, this is what God called me to do. Because again, all those stories that I told you about, I know that at each step that I've taken, every place, every transition, God has been with me. And, I didn't tell you about the times that I messed up because, of course, there have been times that I messed up that he has rescued me and I had to deal with the consequences. But at the end of the day, I do know that I have a purpose and I'll try to use every day that I interact with people to, one, show them the love of Christ. Because again, I know that sometimes that may be the only time that they encounter Christ. Or at least it's one of the times that I have the opportunity to be a representation of him. And then, again, just knowing that people just really want to know that you care. Even if I don't have the answer for their medical problem, I just want people to know that I'm sincerely interested in trying to help them. And I'll do my best to help you to the most of my knowledge. And that's the best that I can give you. And I hope that that's acceptable.
Good stuff. Well, you know what? While you were talking, you made me go back into a day ago because of what you just said. And this is what I put on my page. I said, so I'm praying this morning, and this comes up in my spirit. And this is especially good for me with my busy self, LOL. Philippians 2nd chapter, 3rd and the 4th verse in the New Living Translation. Don't be selfish. Don't try to impress others. Be humble, thinking of others as better than yourselves. Don't look out only for your own interests, but take an interest in others too.
Amen.
That's
Amen.
right. That's right where you were at right there, man. That's so
that's
stupid.
That's it.
Doctor, I want to thank you for just allowing me to chat with you, sharing you with the community at large. You've been a blessing. And this will be repeated. I mean, I saved these, and it's because of people like you, man, that we are rising as a people, as a city, and all these things, man. I often say a lot of times, and this is not to make your head get big, but a lot of times we as a community and people walk all over diamonds while we're looking for coconuts. And that's why my job is to expose the diamonds to the world at large so they can see the goodness of what God has placed right here with us while we're looking over there in the trees for some stuff that's insignificant and irrelevant like coconuts. Unless you really like coconuts a lot. But you understand what I'm saying?
I do.
That's where I'm coming from. So with that being said, I'm going to bid thee good night, Dr. Jolene, and I'm going to tell you the truth. Now I'm going to look you right and straight in your face. I know a doctor for real. Because everybody say, well, you know, I know Dr. Stokes and because they've been around here. I don't know no doctors. Okay. I definitely don't know no doctors that look like me. And the doctors that I do know, they up at the VA and they change every 6 months. They go somewhere. Where they get these revolving turnstile doctors up there, I don't know. So I just feel so blessed to know you. And it's good to know that you can actually talk. So with that being said, I want to say good night to each and every one of you out there. I want you to know that Brother Fonz loved you. And if you want to know who else loved you, go to John 3:16. You know what I'm talking about. And trust me, Coatesville is rising and Black Lives Matter. Peace out.
Amen. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. And boy, we got some good numbers tonight too. I'm telling you, they just love you. Bye-bye.
Bye.